All right, everybody, good morning. Thank you for joining me on this this time I promise, quick video, just a little update I wanted to share with you as far as cutting the frame down. And also I wanted to share something at the end of this quick video with someone, a fellow YouTuber here who has inspired a lot of us, me too recently, since he passes along good tips to me and us. I'm going to give him what I got, and hopefully he may adapt it to what he needs. Because we'll see in a second. Anyways, at the last video, I took out my Dremel tool and I kind of cut this live on TV. I wasn't planning on that. Somewhere in there, I was talking about you have to make a decision, stop sitting on the fence, whether you're gonna customize it, then do it. And I got a lot of good advice and tips from you guys who have been following this. And before I go on real quick, I want to kind of send an apology to all the fellow YouTubers I have been following here and participating in their comments back and forth. And I haven't been doing that in a while. I'm talking everybody, including World History's Miniatures House. Robert, sorry about that, buddy. And everybody else, See Me BMW, and it just goes on and on and on. And Freeman, JPLK, who absolutely love watching his channel. I did not realize the amount of time doing a build takes, but doing a build and filming the steps as you go along takes. There's a lot of filming that I do that just gets tossed out because it was not good. I'm hoping to do this in one shot. So even if I make a mistake or blow my sneeze right now, I'm not going to cut it. I want to do one shot because I got to get to work on this. I got stuff to do out in the backyard. But anyways, I haven't been able to follow your guys' channel and respond. I do watch them. I watch the videos when I'm at work and at lunch and stuff like that. But as far as the participating, what I used to do on a daily basis with every video, it's hard to do. I don't have any time after I'm done with work and I come home and I got to eat and clean up and stuff, and I got to do this and go to bed to start the next day. It's been hard, and I'm slowly trying to catch some. And if I see something that I just got to comment on, I will. But I am watching everyone's channels. It's just the participation. It's just been this is a monster as far as time consumption is concerned. And keep in mind, I don't have the video editing and voice and music and all that you put on top like the other outfits on here do, which are beautiful. I just got a laptop, some music on the side, and just what you see in front of you. So getting back to this real quick, I took out the Dremel tool, I cut it to force me now to make the correct measurements and bring the frame down to the correct length that I need for the project I'm doing. And I was hoping to get a laugh or two or out of the gag of it getting cut and falling apart in two pieces like this. And it didn't quite work out that way because of the brass reinforcement strips I put in there. But now that that fun part is done, I would never, ever, ever cut a frame just with a Dremel tool, nilly-willy like I did. Tom is correct. You want to use a nice flat surface. You have a miter box, that'd be great. I have one here somewhere, but I like to use a quicker method for what I do here. Any type of razor saw, Zona saw. You could use a Dremel tool, but you would use the fine cutting disc and you'd move very slowly, but you still need to put your object on a flat surface. I didn't have any lines marked off on that guy. I kind of just did it. I eyeballed it, but I did a good job as far as where I wanted to lay the cuts. I'm going to zoom in here. I've already made some cuts on this guy here using a correct method, or the more acceptable method where you get acceptable results. So what I'm going to do for you guys, let me move the camera. Let me move the whole tripod. All right. So we're going to put the frame together and see how it came out. What I did is the original length of the frame, I went ahead and marked it off and put tape on this. This is the length, the original length of the original frame, how it came out of the box from AMT. So I'll use that to determine how much I may have to make 2 or 3 cuts. I'm doing it basically on what appeals to me visually, as opposed to any plans or drawings that I may have with the correct lengths and stuff. I don't have that. So I got to do it, eyeball it, what looks good to me. And that's where I stop. So it may require 2 or 3 different passes of cuts. And that's why I use this piece of tape here, because it'll tell me how far I've gone along. But let's go ahead and do this, since I got you guys out of whatever you guys were doing right now. So on this particular brass frame reinforcement, what I did for it, because the unit is so small, so short, as opposed to a big rig, I didn't build the actual frame box like I did on the diamond reel. On this guy here, I felt all she needed was just some brass strips reinforcing the back end there. And you saw how that went in. And this is what kept the model from coming apart when I did that one video, was these guys here. And that's nice, thick. That holds a lot of weight. That ain't going nowhere. This is overkill, because on this short wheel-based model, there was not going to be any weight to put on there to make a bowl in the center of the frames. So I kind of did it just for myself to add weight, but it is overkill in this particular setup. So we go right here, go right here. Okay, there you go. Let's back off about right here. All right. So I didn't use the lines when I cut this thing with the Dremel tool. I just cleaned up one side of the frame. The cut was all crooked, and I scored it up so it's a nice straight cut on each end. And then on the jagged end, which I did on right here live on TV with you guys, I cut behind that jagged end. I gave myself some straight lines there. This way, when I join my two pieces together, they'll line up nice and flush and glue and be stronger. That with the addition of the brass insert in back, it should be no problem. Not that it needed it. Like I said, it's overkill, but it's kind of overkill that I like to do. I do like weight in all my models, and I do like for them to bounce around without getting destroyed real easily. So let's square this up. Right about there. We could do it upside down. Okay. So with that first cut we did on live TV, I went down about 1/4 of an inch. Right there. I want to bring it down ideally. I think 1/2 an inch is perfect. So I have to make another pass, another cut at 1/4 of an inch. So my two pieces will slide out. I'm going to be making the cuts, and I'm going to be joining the two parts where I'm going to have the joint behind what would be the fuel tank. So they'll never be seen. I'll still finish them real nice and pretty though. So the fuel tank will sit here. I'll be making my cuts here. I already made one sort of cut scribe mark just to speed up the process. But I'll show you in this particular project how I square up and actually do my fine cuts. Not the way I did it on the video the other day. That's just that was a spur of the moment, just popped in my mind. But if you do stuff that way, your models will never come out, you know, nice and neat and squared up. So I got this pin on here. I also like to use my nail. The best thing to use is your miter box. I don't know where my miter box is, but it's the typical ones that come with these saws that you buy at the hobby store. They work great. But the miter box, because I already built the frame, may not work because I have this back part, and you want to cut the frame ideally when you're building a model and it's just a frame rail by itself. I got way ahead of myself, but that's fine. So we'll use this post up here to keep my blade from leaning from side to side. Let's see if I can get in there nice and tight. Now I'm going to look down with my eyes so you may get my big head in the way. There we go. And I have a finer blade. They sell these blades even finer. This will work. This will be perfect because I still have to sand the end joints and join them together with Tamiya extra thin. So this will work fine for this application, but definitely don't use the Dremel tool in that method I used the other day. You can, but you really gotta get your flat surface, like Tom says, get your nice sharp blade and take your time by making nice, soft, slow, smooth passes, as opposed to doing this. You're not sawing a you're not sawing a shed. You're not sawing some wooden boards for like a fence repair or a shed or anything. You're building a fine, already detailed model. Now, generally, files and saws cut in one direction. We think they cut in both, and they kind of do, but no, the primo way of doing it, usually with a file, metal file, or with this saw here, just by feel, I can tell it makes the cuts in the forward motion. The pass motion, where you lift up and drag it back a little bit, brings all the chips and all the little bits down. I decided to do this video this morning because I was eating breakfast and drinking coffee out back right now, and I was watching Dave Parsley's video, and he's the latest one, and he's talking about the mess, the dust, the mess, the tools on the side, and he showed us the International Fleet Star, how it's coming along. He brought out the 63, how it came out beautiful, especially with that cover over the hoses and back. Just yeah, I think he's talking about all the junk that accumulates as you go through a build. It's I'll stop there because I'll be embarrassed about the rest. But let me zoom in even tighter, and let me see if this works better. If I bring it over here, well, it's gonna have to work. It's styrene, so it doesn't require any pressure at all, maybe slight forward pressure, and it takes only but a few passes. That is how the correct way, a more correct way to cut a frame. And you get your nice, you put in the light, serious, straight joints. I already pre-did this one before I shot the video, just for speed. So we'll just take it out. There it goes. I think there it goes. That was number 2. You saw how easily the pieces fell off, and that's about 1/4 of an inch. But look at you get your clean cuts. Now, when you're finally satisfied at your cuts and your length, then take them apart, clean up the fuzzies and all that stuff on your joints, on all 4 joints, and then square them up, secure your frame to some surface, and then go ahead and hit it with your glue, and let it dry. But I would keep coming back to it. I wouldn't just let it dry and go to the store and come back. I'd keep an eye on it every few minutes just to make sure it's not walking on you. But if you secure it down to something, it shouldn't walk on you. But because it is the frame, and any slight warpness will show up in your wheels, because all 4 wheels need to sit perfectly flat when you're done with the model. I like to keep coming back on this till it's absolutely dry, just in case. It's harder to fix a model when one wheel is sitting up high once it's done and painted than it is right here at this stage. So that was kind of like my little clarification video. Not clarification, but better explanation. That, yeah, I don't normally cut like that. That was for just spur of the moment, and that was just to force me to shrink this down because I was debating whether I should do it or not. I'm glad I did it. Thank you, Tom. But once it's cut, I had no choice, right? I have to go ahead and take the extra steps, burn an extra day or two in adding to the length of the build. And like my good buddy Eddie at work always says, once I cut it with the Dremel tool, like he says, now you can't sleeve. So thank you for that one, Eddie. Let's put this guy together. I have to slip. I'll get it in there. As it shrinks, it's getting harder to fit. All right. So already she's shrinking. So let's flip her upside down and see how much she came down. I'm looking for 1/2 inch. By George, that looks like 1/2 inch. Actually, it's just a hair under 1/2 inch, which is kind of what I was looking for. But the ultimate, let's bring that back a little. The ultimate determination we made by how the wheels sit in relationship to the fuel tank and the cab. So that would be this part. For those of you who haven't seen my video, I did a temporary setup how to take these on and off the wheels. You're going to be amazed at what it's going to do right now. You're going to say, how did I do that? It's too much to explain here, but check out that video. It was about 4 or 5 videos. No, actually it was about 6 videos ago. Well, no, let's do it anyways. We're here. Well, that's taking too much time. Let's just do it like this. So I watch everybody's videos. I will be watching videos on model making on YouTube to the day I die. It's fascinating. I love listening to you guys talk. I love watching how you guys come up with remedies or solutions. It's fascinating. And I just can't participate like I used to. This thing just consumes gobs and gobs of time. But I'm glad I'm doing it. And I'm glad you guys are following. And if you don't feel there's a need to follow, or if you're a young person or someone who's trying to build something and this seems too complicated, look at these videos. I'm filming them like each one is his own shop manual, and you just pull out the one you want to use when you get to that point. Hopefully it'll give you some ideas or motivation, and you can go ahead and proceed on your build using a combination mix and match or just your own complete waves. And I'd say film it. So this is my template for the width. It's going to represent the width of the fuel tank. I think we got it. Okay, I'm going to call it. That's it. I'm going to call it. That's it. I'm going to call it right then and there. That'll be the shrunken, shortened frame and wheelbase for my little C900 project, which is exactly the one I'm modeling that I have on video, which I'll show you guys later. Let's kind of end it right here, but before we do that, these fender wheels are way too long. They drop down, they cover pretty much almost all the wheel, not quite all of it though. And the one I'm modeling, they end about right up here. Kind of like the axle, the line for the axle going across, that's where they end. So what I'm going to have to do, I don't know if I talked about this or not, I'm going to have to cut the fenders right about right here. And I already went ahead and taped off the areas I'm going to be cutting, including the curved rear portion. And I'll do this off. This is no big deal, and I'll probably do this after I'm done shooting or down the road after lunch. But once we get the correct height on that, we're pretty darn close. We can button up the frame, add all the lines and stuff, drop the motor in, and then we'll concentrate solely on the cab and all that fine photo etch detail that they gave us. And we're getting pretty close. Okay, let's call the video done right about here, except for one point. We'll take the video camera off of the tripod. Now, I absolutely love watching Dave Parsley's builds, and just imagination, the gears in his brain, you can hear him whirling as he builds and stuff. And he's like me. I've never been set up for this. I like to watch builds, the steps, the guys working quietly and slowly, and there's music in the background and inspires me. And but I'm not set up for that, so I kind of wanted to maybe do an in between, because I needed to start using both hands. I got tired of doing this and stuff out of focus because I'm only using one hand, and I thought I wasn't doing my model justice. And so what I did is, Dave, this is for you. The setups I have, I got one regular tripod. I think I got this at a yard sale or something used or on Craigslist. So I stand this sucker right behind me over my shoulder, and I got one of those cheapy things that you would install, I think, on your dashboard or something of your car to hold the cell phone. I use the cell phone for my camera, and you know, this thing, you drop this lip down, you pop your camera in, it snaps back up, and you're ready to film. So I point the sucker all the way down, you know, I get those panning shots. If I want to film more down into my model, then what I do is I come down here and I drop a couple inches off that front leg. It drops my tripod down so I can really get down in there. But also, like David, as I build, I run out of space on my little workbench here. I've got another one to the right, but it's completely full of junk right now. But so what I did, I also found a smaller tripod. And you know, that head would extend up, the legs would extend up. They're at their lowest position right now. Right now where I'm looking, it's probably at about 18 inches tall. So when I can't use the big tall tripod, what I'll do is I'll use this little one. And what I did with the little one, David, is, you know, those sticks, selfie sticks that the kids use everywhere. I got a used one. I actually got a couple of them. And I'm going to use that kind of like an extending boom. So that part will extend out. Let me do this. There we go. I extended it right there. I had to use both hands. So I'll attach the camera to this point with using my quick attachment latch up, which I just showed you guys right now, that thing. And I can use this as a boom, so if it's too far away from the work I'm trying to film, I can extend the boom out, or selfie stick, and still film with the tripod being wherever I can put it, actually. And there's a paintbrush in there right now because this was put on with a hose clamp. The hose clamp did not close all the way completely, so it was wiggling around. So I go, you know what, I'm just gonna jam. If it would have been a pencil handy, I would have jammed the pencil in there. My paintbrush was handy, so I just jammed the paintbrush in there. Works fine. But I think I picked that up at that one I picked up at Goodwill. There's the sticker, like $4. This one I picked up, I think, at a yard sale. But David, I bring this up because I think I'm going to speak for a lot of people. We would love to see you using both hands, and we would love to take a peek at a little building process step here and there. Um, your models are beautiful, and I think you're gonna be super happy with the results of your video. They're great now, but that third dimension or fourth dimension, whatever you want to call it, of having both your hands there and the camera perfectly steady, it's gonna be. The models are beautiful. The models are amazing. The building process just blows me away. It's even more amazing. I watched a video this morning on the Fleet Star and the styrene built up sides, the one side, and all the sanding that's required and stuff. I didn't realize that. I guess I assumed. I just never thought about it. But of course, you got to do all that. And I thought that was a great video, and it happened to be a video where you mentioned you weren't set up yet. Dave, I never was. I don't think I ever will be, but I just grabbed these tripods and said I got to start filming with two hands. I also grabbed this. That's supposed to allow me to film above my workbench like this. I haven't been able to set it up with my phone because of the... well, I don't want to talk about it. But anyways, there you go, Dave. I hope that helps you. But it's just something I wanted to pass along to anybody else who's also facing or thinking about maybe going that extra step. You guys take care.